Hi, my name is Hugh John. I am living out of Shanghai and I am an American, a Caribbean American, doing business with the Chinese. If you're like myself and you want to do business with the Chinese or you want to be involved with any import-export, I definitely recommend a few things that you might want to jot down. The first thing is the language. Now, it took me about a year to study the language and get a basic understanding of how to communicate with them. If you're not like myself and you can have the time or the resources to go out and study the language, you can begin to start or even get a translator, but I definitely recommend you speak Chinese, Mandarin specifically. The whole different way of communication, and a lot of things could go wrong if you're not clear and concise about what you want to talk about and what you want done. The second thing I would definitely recommend is you get to be familiar with their culture. We have here in Shanghai, all over China, one specific holiday that just demands a lot of attention, which is the Chinese New Year. It typically falls around late January to, I would say, perhaps late February as well. So depending on what line of business you are in, you want to start paying attention to some of the changes and challenges that might happen from mid-December all the way to March. Different industries have different ways of doing things, and you might not get things done if you don't pay attention to their culture and their holidays. They fall on the lunar calendar, which is different from our calendar, so it's a big event where in Shanghai there's a total usually of 30 million people that live here on a daily basis, including tourism, but there's only 13 million Shanghai people. That means everyone else is from other parts of the city, and they go to different places and they all go home. And even some of the Shanghai people do travel. So it's like ghost town whenever it's Chinese New Year. So paying attention to right on your calendar when their calendar also changes and they have their holidays. And they do have frequent holidays. Another thing you want to remember that the Chinese are specialists. They specialize in one thing. You might have a few, eggs in the basket where they can do multiple things, but traditionally they have one craft that they specialize and they do it. So if your job or your particular business requires multiple facets and multiple things happening at the same time, you might find yourself dealing with multiple people. So perhaps when you hit the side, you might talk to one person, but in reality that person is talking to multiple people that can do different parts of the job to give you the finished product. So it does take a lot longer and could be a lot more complicated if you're not clear and concise, where the language definitely plays in a role. Another thing that's good for you is negotiation. Chinese like to negotiate. Now, perhaps you're not used to negotiating, you might feel bad, or even it makes business sense to negotiate. I would recommend that you negotiate on a fairness where they can make money and you can make money. Let's not do something ridiculous where you think things cost 2 cents when they really don't. They do cost some money depending on a product, and it does require labor charges. So when you're negotiating these prices, you want to think about how can we maintain a healthy relationship where they're happy to do business with you and you're happy to do business with them. Another thing you want to think about is relationships. I just talked about relationships. Chinese thrive on relationships. If you don't have any relationship with Chinese, you can start one. And when you start one, please remember that you want to keep your best foot forward so they can continue to do business. The longer your relationship with Chinese people, the better it is in the long term. Perhaps you might pay a little bit more in the beginning, but in essence, what's more important? Quality, expectations of getting the job done right the first time? Yes. So, be in mind that you want to hold your part of the bargain by being a good person and having a good relationship, by respecting their culture, trying to learn their language, even if it's a little bit like ni hao or 你今天怎么样, which basically means how are you today. So some of these things will definitely impress them to believe that they can feel that they can begin to trust you. And finally, I want to say that if one doesn't work, there's over a billion Chinese, so there's lots of competition. You can always get what you want. You just got to put a little effort. Now, those are my tips for dealing business with Chinese. If you do have any questions, you can definitely email me at hujohn followed by 2 zeros at gmail.com. Or if I'll say it again, it's hujohn followed by 2 zeros, 00 at gmail.com. And if you're looking to do any business or need any help, definitely shoot me an email or leave a comment at the bottom. Don't forget to like me. Thank you for watching.